Hi, this is Michael Port, and I am in Doylestown, which is where I live. And this is going to be a little interview with Carol Roth, who came out here on the train today from Philly, all the way from Cali,
Chicago. Yes.
Close, sort of, not really.
Some C place, right?
Yeah, and that's Carol right there.
Hello.
And I'll get a better view of her in a sec. But the reason we're sitting down today is because she has a new book coming out, and she's asked me to write the foreword. And I'm so honored because I think it's a really, really cool book. Very different, very edgy, and maybe even a little bit controversial. So I was honored to say yes, and we sat down to talk about it. And I'm going to ask her a few questions about the book, so you could hear her philosophy on business and life, and hopefully learn a few things in the process. So here's Carol. Here we go.
Well, Michael, first, thank you so much. I am so excited and honored that you're going to be doing the foreword for the Entrepreneur Equation.
Well, it's my pleasure. So the Entrepreneur Equation. Okay. Now, this is definitely, when this book comes out, I think it'll be controversial because you don't take the typical approach that most people do to entrepreneurship. So can you tell us a little bit about why you wrote the book, what your philosophy is, and what people will learn from it?
Sure. Well, I've spent 15 years advising businesses, and I was actually compelled to write the book. I never had the big dream of, I'm going to write a book one day. But I had so many people who were coming to me and going into entrepreneurship either for the wrong reasons or without preparation. And I was sort of hitting myself, against my head against the wall going,
I thought I saw a mark on your head.
Right here. And I'm going, what are these folks doing? And then I kind of took a step back and I looked at my own situation. I went to Wharton, I worked for a Wall Street firm, and when I started my own business, I didn't know too much about business and entrepreneurship, and I was in for a lot of surprises. So how the heck was anybody else supposed to know this? So I was really compelled to put something together to tell people not only the realities of entrepreneurship, but to how to really evaluate the risks and rewards, because there are a lot of people who go into business and make a really bad trade out of the whole thing.
In the very beginning of the book, you tell a little story about, I think you called the company Financial Dreams, Inc.
Yes.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about the statistics behind Financial Dreams, Inc.?
Yeah, so, there's this investment out there that tons of people make every year. I think it's 6 million people make, and 90%, up to 90% will lose their investment, some portion of that, sometimes the entire investment, within 5 years. And that's insane. And what that really represents is entrepreneurship. Up to 90% of businesses will fail within 5 years. I mean, if you think about, imagine if 90% of doctors failed within 5 years. I mean, that would be totally unacceptable. And I don't know why people aren't up in arms about this, but everybody's telling you the 37 secrets to success.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not working, folks. The 37 secrets to success have been out there for so long.
Yeah.
And so I really felt like this was the time, after the economic crisis we've been through, after everyone's been blowing smoke up each other's behind, going, oh yeah, no, you should do this. No, you need to take a step back and make sure it's a good trade for you, because you want to be successful. I want you to be successful. Michael wants you to be successful. And the only way you're going to do it is if you have the preparation. And as I say, you do the math before you go down the entrepreneurial path.
Yeah. So essentially, are you saying that there are some people that may not be suited for entrepreneurship, and there are some people who are suited for entrepreneurship?
Absolutely. At any given point in time, not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. There are some people who are never meant to be an entrepreneur, just like anything else. I mean, not everyone's meant to be an NFL football player, or if you've ever seen American Idol, not everyone's meant to be a professional singer, and that's okay. If everyone was meant to be an entrepreneur, we wouldn't have any people working in our businesses. Yeah. So you don't need to be an entrepreneur. And then there's a timing issue. For some people, they may be meant to be an entrepreneur, maybe a good path for them, but just not right now.
Right.
They may have things going on with their finances, with their personal responsibilities, with their experience, which really don't stack the odds in their favor. They really don't maximize the opportunities for success, and there's no reason not to take the time to do that if you're going to invest your time and your money and your effort.
There's also something, I feel like there's a little myth out there, or assumption, that it's better if you're an entrepreneur than if you're the one working in the company.
Right.
That somehow, that person has higher status or more clout or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Because we see these, we hear these stories,
yes.
exactly, romanticized stories about either what it means to be an entrepreneur or
Yes.
some people are really rich because they started their own business. That
Right,
kind of thing.
and it sounds glamorous to say, I am the CEO of Miko. That sounds really impressive.
Right.
And I say you can't start a business for a story. If you want to do that, if you want to say that you're in business, go buy a government savings bond and tell people you're in the long-term government securities industry. It's much cheaper and easier to do that if you're doing it just for the story or for the status.
Yeah.
And there is this glamorization in the media of entrepreneurship, and we hear about these things. The guy Kawasaki says, we always hear about the Googles and the Michael Jordans, but the reason we hear about them is because they don't happen very often.
Right.
But they're taken as the norm. And the reality is far from the norm. I mean, the average business makes less than $100,000 a year, has no plans for growth, and as we said, fails within the first 5 years. And those aren't the stories that we hear, which is unfortunate. I think if you're going to do this, you need to know what the realities are.
So, hold on, there's a truck passing by. See, there goes the truck. See, isn't my town really cute? A little American flag right there. Okay. Hope the lighting is good. I'm really not a camera expert, but it looks like it's pretty good. So, just to wrap up, I'd love to hear a couple things that you think somebody should do in the early stages of business development, or even before they're considering getting into business, that will help protect them. Really, create some sort of insurance policy for themselves.
Yeah.
And also things that they can do to move themselves towards success if they do choose entrepreneurship.
All right, so the first thing that you have to do is you have to look at the risks and rewards. And this is very personal. The risk trade-off that's going to make sense for me is going to be very different than the risk trade-off that's going to make sense for Michael, is going to be very different than the risk trade-off than you watching this video. It's very personal. It's based on your goals, your circumstances, your objectives, and your opportunities. So you have to look at the potential rewards and say, is it worth all the risks that I'm taking on? And as you evaluate that, and as you evaluate the potential risks and rewards, you have to look at a couple of things in terms of your timing. Do you have your finances in order? One of the things, so many businesses are undercapitalized. Not only does a business sometimes take up to 2 years to get its legs underneath it, but then you also have to have money to live on in the meantime. And if you're going to be making choices in your business where, okay, I have to pay my mortgage or I have to invest in my business, it's going to put you in a really compromising situation. So you want to make sure that you don't put yourself in that situation and have your finances in order. The second thing, Michael and I just talked about this, is experience. Get some relevant experience as a way to kind of screen entrepreneurship. I told them a story about a woman who had come to me. She wanted to start a Subway franchise because she was really jazzed about $5 footlongs. And I'd asked her if she'd ever worked in the fast food industry before, and she said no. And I said, well, why don't you, nights and weekends before you quit your day job, go work at a Subway, see if you can get yourself promoted, see if you even like it after a while. And she'd even last 3 months, I think, and she came back and she said, I absolutely hate it. I never want to see another $5 footlong again in my life. And so my immediate reaction was, gee, aren't you glad you didn't waste six figures, $100,000 plus on opening one of these? And so I think you have to really take the romantic notion, put it aside for a second, and see what kind of experience you can get. And then look at your responsibilities. I mean, if you have young children that you want to spend time with, or perhaps you have to fund their college education, or you have, other family members who are dependent upon you, where it's not going to be good for your family life too, take that into consideration as well, and really get those factors in order to help stack the odds in your favor to make your business more successful.
Very nice. Thank you. Oh, look, another truck. Is this like delivery time or something? I guess so. U.S. Food Service. There you go.
It adds to the gritty nature of the film. Michael's a very gritty, camera man.
Yeah, that's right. I live in a very gritty town under
Doylestown, Pennsylvania.
Right. Exactly. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with.
My pleasure, and thank you again for writing the form. I'm so excited to see the forward and for the Entrepreneur Equation coming out in the first quarter of 2011.
Yeah, me too. So that's it. That's Michael Port. Peace. I love you very much, and not in a weird way, I promise. But I do, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye for now.